If I had a hat, I would tip it to the writing of this episode, because I was fooled, and I think majority of us were fooled, all of us, because that reveal at the end of the episode, when you see Goku Black, he transforms, he's beating the shit out of everybody, you know, he beat the shit out of Vegeta, and then eventually Goku has to fight him, and Goku's losing, and then all of a sudden you hear a voice from the sky, and it's Zamasu. I was just absolutely shocked. Like, that honestly took me back. I'm like, whoa, I'm surprised. I'm actually fucking surprised, because it's a rarity to really get surprised, like, very big surprised by Dragon Ball. I'm just gonna be honest here, it's been a long time since I have been surprised, and just seeing the reveal of Zamasu not being Goku Black, I'm like, bro, whoa. The entirety of this arc has been trying to hint that Zamasu is Goku Black, but then Zamasu is his own form. He's his own self. He literally lands down, and he's completely separate from Goku Black. So, who is Goku Black? That is the big question we have right now. So, Goku Black isn't Zamasu controlling his body, so what the fuck is going on here? So yeah, I have a lot of questions, but the reveal of Zamasu actually being separate, it makes me happy. It makes me very happy with the writing of this episode, and also makes me very happy to see how Zamasu is being built up as a villain. For instance, he's not just going to be in Goku's body, he actually is going to still be in his own form, and he's probably very, 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 very strong, judging by the title of next week's episode. So, let's talk about that aspect real quick, okay? So, I'm going to talk about some spoilers here, and the spoilers pertain to the latest chapter of the manga of Dragon Ball Super, chapter 15. I think it's 15. I think it's chapter 15. So, let me explain. If you have yet to actually read that chapter, I recommend you to go read that chapter. Now, it doesn't spoil the events after this episode. I'm just going to say, technically, we're already past the manga of Dragon Ball Super, but Dragon Ball Super is structured in a way to where it literally is behind the anime, but it adds details that the anime gives at that time, or sometimes it goes a little bit ahead of the anime, and it actually gives a little bit more few details that we were unaware of, and a different perspective. And so, I recommend go read the latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super before you continue on this video, because I do not want to spoil you. So anyways, I'm going to begin. So in the latest chapter, it is revealed that Lord Beerus, he's dead. He's dead as fuck. Like, he's dead in the future timeline where Trunks is. Future Trunks, his world, Lord Beerus is dead. And the reason for this is because the Supreme Kais are dead. Now remember, as we found out in last week's episode, we found out that the Supreme Kais and then the god of that verse, they're a set. They're together. They're linked. It's kind of like Kami and Piccolo. They're both linked. If one dies, the other disappears and dies as well. And so when the Supreme Kais all died and disappeared, Lord Beerus died as well. He just passed away. And it lets us know that the timeline that Trunks is from, where we're currently at right now, there is no god. There is no Lord Beerus. Beerus is not around at all, which explains why Beerus did not, you know, stop what's going on right now. Why Beerus is not stopping Goku Black. Why Beerus is probably not stopping Zamasu. Why none of this is being stopped. It's thanks to Beerus passing away, thanks to Supreme Kai dying. And the reason how Supreme Kai died, apparently he died in the fight with Deborah and all that, and fighting Bibbidy off from resurrecting Majin Buu. You had it to where Supreme Kai died at that time. He sacrificed himself, he laid down his life to save everybody, and so it caused it to where Lord Beerus passed away. Now, here is the thing about this that I'm kind of curious about. I'm very curious if Whis actually disappears as well, besides, you know, Beerus. I mean, we do know that Beerus will disappear since he's a god and he's linked with the Supreme Kais. We don't necessarily know what happens to Whis, so I'm very curious exactly if he disappeared alongside of Lord Beerus, or if he's completely separate out of this and he might have another role to play. But regardless of that, though, this means that there is no one to stop the higher tier, upper tier gods of the verse, where, you know, right now, you know, future Trunks everybody is at. So it's literally Zamasu controlling everything. He is the god of that entire timeline. He controls that entire world. And this explains a lot. It really explains a lot, judging by the mentality that Zamasu brought up in, you know, a couple episodes back, the way he's been acting. It makes a lot of sense now. He literally is a god now, and he can do anything he wants without anyone interrupting him. And when you saw at the end of the episode, it actually gives us the title of next week's episode. It's called The Immortal God Zamasu. I'm like, okay, the Immortal God. I'm going to assume that Zamasu became the god of the verse. Like, he straight up is the next god of destruction. Now, hopefully we get a little bit more clarification of how he became the god, because it's not, you know, stated how exactly you become the next god. We know you probably go through training and stuff to become the next god, but it's not stated exactly how you get that title of, let's say, God of Destruction. I know probably if you defeated, let's say, Lord Beerus or whatever, you might be given the title, but it's not actually stated how you become god status, if you get my point. So, I'm curious if Zamasu, he took that title after, you know, I guess Beerus passed away. He grabbed that title and he controlled the entire, you know, timeline here. Probably something going on with that. So let's talk about what's going on with Goku Black. So Goku Black, he is someone completely else. Like, he's not Zamasu. Now, there is a possibility Zamasu could be controlling Goku Black's body. Like, maybe he split himself, or maybe he's just, you know, manipulating Goku Black's body, and then he's kind of like a puppet. There's a possibility. Now, I'm going to kind of, you know, make a bet here and just say, I highly doubt it's Goku that's in the body. I doubt that. So, I have a lot of questions exactly who is that inside of Goku Black, because Goku Black did state in the episode that this is like Goku's pinnacle, like one of his greatest pinnacles of strength that he could possibly achieve. For instance, when he transformed into Super Saiyan Rose, he was telling Goku that pretty much you can eventually be here, but since I'm here, I'm getting to actually display this power that maybe you eventually could have had. So Goku Black is literally saying that this is your body. This is straight up your body, Goku. I am using your body. And I just wonder exactly how this all happened, and if I had to place any bets here, this is what I think is going on. Since we know that Goku Black is wearing, like, you know, a Kai outfit. He has a Kai outfit, he has an earring and all that. We know he has all this attire of a Kai, like a Supreme Kai, and since we know Zamasu is still alive, it explains that maybe Zamasu is like the mentor in this situation, like he is the, you know, master of the Supreme Kais, and he's training a new Supreme Kai, which is Goku Black. That's also a possibility of what can be going on here. Remember, Zamasu was a Kai in training. We saw he's a Supreme Kai in training, he had a mentor teaching him and all that, and now apparently it seems like Zamasu's doing his own things. He's, you know, doing his own things he wants to do. So most likely he is now, you know, the teacher, and then you have it where Goku Black is underneath him, trying to be like maybe a Supreme Kai or something in training, but then it still doesn't explain who Goku Black is. So, a lot of questions right now. But getting off of that, let's talk about one other detail. Since the Supreme Kai is dead, okay, and the world now is pretty much without a god, and as I talked about in my last video, we found out that, you know, Bibbidy, he was always wanting to hunt down the Supreme Kais. He was always killing off the Supreme Kais, and, you know, he was using Buu to do this. He was destroying everything. And as we now know, if all the Supreme Kais are dead, Beerus disappears. So this hints at possibly more of the goal what, you know, Bibbidy was trying to do. He wanted to kill off the Supreme Kais to remove Beerus. And what also does this necessarily mean if all the Kais are dead? Well, also that would mean nobody could stop Bibbidy. Nobody could stop him from ruling the universe, because there's no higher power, no god to stop him, and maybe he knew some form of mechanics to how he could possibly become the next god. Like, what if, you know, Bibbidy, he wanted to do something very similar to what Zamasu is currently doing. As we know, Zamasu most likely is a god now. He is literally a god since Beerus is dead. What if Bibbidy was trying to do something that maybe Zamasu did? Like, you know how Zamasu is now the title of the god? What if Bibbidy was trying to do that? And that's why he was trying to manipulate all this to, you know, to kill off all the Supreme Kais. That is a possibility. Now, here's another thing I wanted to throw up, which I was thinking about, actually. I was thinking very hard on this scene about, like, what maybe Bibbidy's goal was at that time. And I was thinking, like, you know, you remember something that Buu can do? Absorption. He can absorb people. And I'm like, what did Buu do and display in the episodes when we saw the Buu song? He absorbed multiple Kais. We know that. He killed multiple, and he absorbed multiple. Now, what does absorption mean for Buu? Obviously, he takes on the characteristics of them. But also, he gains their abilities. We do know that when Buu absorbs someone, he gained their abilities. Now, think about this, okay? Since Buu absorbed them, we know the Kais most likely are necessarily not dead. Like, they're not dead, because we knew when Piccolo and Goten saw them were absorbed and all that, they weren't dead either. They were just in, you know, Buu's mind. So it wasn't saying that they were dead at that time. So the Supreme Kais were technically alive, so that link to Beerus most likely was still there. Most likely, when Buu absorbed the Kais. But what if maybe Bibbidy was trying something else? What if he wanted to go one step further, and what if he was trying to have it to where Buu would get enough power, and then Buu would use Kai Kai? Now, you remember what Supreme Kai did in last week's episode. He used an ability that instantly took him to the Omni King, Zeno. It took him instantly to the King of All. You know, the ruler of all the universes. The Supreme Kais can instantly warp there with the ability Kai Kai. And what happens when Buu absorbs someone? He gains their ability. So what if Buu was going to use that ability to go to the King of All? What if that was Bibbidy's master plan as well? It's just something to think about. I mean, if you really think about what if that was one of his plans to do all along, was to use Buu to teleport to Zeno, and then maybe either Buu was going to try to absorb Zeno, or he was going to wait until Buu gained enough power, and then he was going to go after Zeno. I have no idea, but one of the things, too, we have to take note of is that at the time of Super Buu, when Super Buu was introduced as well, he technically still had Fat Buu inside of him. He had, the Buu that we know and love, that's the good Buu. He had that Buu inside of him, so he still had that connection to the Kais. He still was connected to the Kais to where he could probably use the ability Kai Kai. And since he had the brain of Piccolo, he had that knowledge from Piccolo, we know Buu wasn't necessarily stupid. He was actually intelligent. So, he wasn't someone that possibly couldn't realize there's other universes and stuff. And since he had, this connection to, Piccolo, and Piccolo knows about future Trunks, there's a possibility Buu knew about the different, timelines and stuff as well. So, this would mean that Buu eventually, as he gained enough power, and after he was done with the Earth and all that, and taking out Vegeta and all that, he might have moved on to different timelines or universes to take them out, and then use Kai Kai to teleport around. It's a possibility. I mean, if you think about it, maybe he might eventually set his sights to go after Lord Beerus. There's just a lot of things we can take from the latest events of these episodes, especially with what happened this episode with Zamasu, and then last week's episode. So yeah, I was just bringing that up. So let's talk about the details that happened this episode. Like, for instance, the Vegeta stuff. So Vegeta had a fight with Goku Black, and they got in a big brawl, okay? And right from the beginning, you can easily see there was a difference between the fighting power of Goku Black and Vegeta. And once again, I just gotta say, I'm displeased with that. I'm very displeased with how Vegeta pretty much was the opening act, which Goku Black straight up stated to us in this episode. He's like, you're the opening act, Vegeta. You're the opening course. Pretty much the appetizer before the main event, the main dish, which is, Goku. And I know probably the way that was written was to make, I guess not meant to harm Vegeta fans or whatever, but it felt like that was just trying to put an arrow in someone's knee, like letting us know that Vegeta's always the opening act, he's always the one that gets to show how strong the villain is, and then Goku comes in and saves the day. I'm just not a big fan of that, because as I said many times over, I wish Vegeta actually could, fight and beat his own villain instead of someone incredibly weak. Like, I would love to see Vegeta beat the main villain of an arc, like a big main villain. For instance, think about this, okay? Think about, let's say, if Vegeta would have killed Frieza. I've always wanted to see Vegeta kill Frieza, and when the Resurrection of Frieza movie came around, I thought Vegeta was actually going to get his time to shine. He was going to be able to kill Frieza, get his revenge, and just, get some payback to what happened to him in the Frieza saga, but that didn't happen. He was completely fucked out of that, and he got killed, and then Goku had to save the day. And so I'm kind of upset that Vegeta, once again, he got shoved to the side, and he did not get to win a battle for himself. I mean, obviously Goku Black is strong, but I would have liked to change it. Like, maybe Goku goes in first and he gets his ass beat, and then Vegeta has to win it. I would like that. I really would. And hopefully this doesn't become a reoccurring thing in Dragon Ball Super. Hopefully Vegeta does get the time to shine and actually be, one of the main characters that literally can actually defeat a main villain without, having Goku have to do it for him. Hopefully we get to see this from Vegeta. So, getting off of that, let's talk about the Rose, Super Saiyan Rose. So, as I said last week, I called the name of it stupid. It's a very stupid name. I still stand to it, regardless of the symbolic meaning behind it, which a couple of YouTubers pointed out in the comments, which, damn, the meaning of Super Saiyan Rose, holy shit. But still, the Rose thing, it needs a little bit of work, regardless of the symbolism. I'm not a big fan of it, but one of the things, though, about the form, the way it looks, it does look badass. I won't put that down. I will not put down how badass the form looks, especially when you see how, like, the aura just, like, shifts from, Goku Black's hand to his entire body. I love the way it looked. I was a big fan of it. I like the transformation. So, yeah, it's something I do like to see, just the name. I'm just not the biggest fan of the name, but I do like the transformation. So, yeah, episode overall was good. I mean, it did have some, Mai and then Trunks stuff throughout the episode, but I've talked about that constantly, so I don't really need to dive into that. So, yeah, you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.